What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian from Theo and Harris. Today I'm wearing an incredible Patek Philippe, which is the subject of today's conversation. And today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at Squarespace. More on them later. I'm going to take the next couple of minutes here not to talk about new releases, not to talk about Rolex or Patek's new brand strategy, or how I'm a little bit underwhelmed by Tudor this year, or how I think that the new JLC reversal, which I just saw on the wrist of Walton Goggins on SNL last week, is a little bit bulky in the class. I'm not going to talk about new watches and technical specs right now, because I think that while you guys do come here to this channel for that a little bit, I think a much larger reason why you come to this channel is for maybe like a larger, more sentimental, kind of nostalgic, very personal, very very personal perspective that I bring, for better or for worse. And I hope for better if you're here, right? Unless you're hate watching this, in which case, thank you for the views as well. I really appreciate it. So today's conversation is going to be a little bit broader, a little bit more human, and it's going to be about, or it's an anecdote about how fucking important it is just to wear the watches that truly matter to you. That's what this story's about. So I'll give you a little bit of background, and then I'll tell you what I experienced this week, and how I'm getting chills talking about it now, how taking this little piece of advice to me has been invaluable over the last 7 days, to just wear fucking watches that actually matter to you. Okay. Let's rewind. For those of you who have been on this channel for a little while, you remember the story. For those of you who haven't been, here's a little overview. About 7 years ago, so Theo and Harris was 3 years old. I had just really gotten into watches right around then. I really didn't really have a thriving business yet. I still am a very young entrepreneur. I was even a younger entrepreneur. I was 22 or 23 years old. I had my one blue Datejust, right? A watch that I had borrowed money from my mom to buy, a watch that I kind of had no business having, and I'm very glad that I did purchase, but really had no business having, you know. And a couple of years into business, and we weren't thriving, but I had a couple of dollars, and I had no obligations, which is also very important, right? And I wanted to buy another watch, as all watch collectors do. Wanted to buy something else. And I was looking at a couple different things. I was looking at Omega 321s, and I was looking at Reversos, and I was looking at all these different things, and I would spend hours, all night, I would just look at these watches. And then it occurred to me one night that I probably shouldn't buy myself a watch, that wouldn't be nearly as important as doing something else, another idea that I had, which was to gift my grandfather a watch for his 80th birthday. And my grandfather was not, he's passed now, a buonanima, as Italian Americans say, passed in October. He's been on the channel many times. There's been many videos that you guys really loved and adored. Really, I'll link them down below. And he wasn't a jewelry guy. He had an Omega Seamaster that he was gifted in like 1954 that he wore a total of probably 15 times in 70 years. Truly, I really mean that. But he was a gentleman, and he did like to get dressed when the occasion called for it. And the only watch brand, and he really expressed interest in my career. He loved watches. He loved watches because of Theo and Harris, right? Because it was his grandson's company, not because like he thought Theo and Harris was the best channel in the world. He didn't have an opinion, right, on all of that. But we did share conversation over this subject. And the one brand that he really admired was Patek Philippe. And the reason was somewhat simple. One, because my Patek Philippe, by and large, manufactures very elegant, just gentleman's watches. And that was what my grandfather was. My grandfather was a no-frills guy. Thin, small, precious metal, preferably. He would say, you know, it's something simple, right? Not like a spacon, the language he would use, spacon, gavon, right? Things like this, like an animal, like a pig, like a big show-off, right? He liked more reserved watches. And his not so reserved grandson, I suppose. And he admired Patek Philippe for that reason, and also because he heard a commercial on the radio. My grandfather was a cab driver, so he heard radio commercials just constantly all day. And there was a Patek Philippe commercial that he heard many times that he really admired, and it was something about he never quoted it verbatim, but it was something about how Patek Philippe lasts you many generations. And there was a man that wore his Patek Philippe as a cement like worker, like a blue collar worker, probably the owner of some large industrial company or something, and like how with proper service it lasted him multi-generations. That was kind of the point. And that story resonated with my grandfather. So we bought him a Patek Philippe. Long story short, I bought him a Patek Philippe. My parents chipped in as well. We all together got him this Patek Philippe celebrating his 80th birthday. My grandfather very, very rarely wore this watch. That was actually something that we discussed in a video one time that I'm linking down below, how my grandfather simply would not give in to wear the watch. So I would borrow it every once in a while when I was doing something important. I borrowed his Patek Philippe when I met Terry Stern, the CEO, president of Patek Philippe at Shore Hills in London Jewelers. Beautiful location, Patek Philippe store, jewelry everywhere. And we were drinking beautiful Bourgogne with Terry Stern. Fabulous night. His teeth were purple. It was hysterical. He was the most lovely man. It was truly great. It was just a lovely, lovely night. It was a great memory to be able to have wearing this Patek Philippe. I also wore this Patek Philippe. In fact, it was the only watch that I brought when I visited Geneva for Watches and Wonders 2 years ago. Not only did I wear it to Geneva for my first Watches and Wonders, but I wore it in Geneva to the Patek Philippe Rare Handcraft Museum, right, where we saw woodwork, marquetry, cloisonné enamel, incredible stuff. We met some of the artisans. It was unbelievable. And there I am wearing my grandfather's Patek Philippe. For me, it was a very, kind of special moment. All of these were very special moments because I felt like I was, what this Patek Philippe kind of represented was a very, very kind of lower middle class or upper lower class, blue collar family, buying a piece of the good life and then, the places they'll go. That's kind of the story, right? Who knew that my grandfather's little Patek Philippe would be shaking Terry Stern's hand, right? Who knew that it would be in the rare handcraft? It was just cool. I'm a storyteller. I'm a very nostalgic guy. I'm a sucker for that social mobility story. It's probably the story that I hold closest to my heart. So it was great. I wore this watch on not countless, but a small handful of other meaningful nothings of days. Meaningful dates, a dinner or two or a Saturday morning with my parents. Didn't maintain possession of the watch for any long periods of time, always brought it right back to Poppy, right? But when he passed away in October, obviously I became the new custodian of this watch. And I didn't wear it from October to Easter. I don't know why. I think that part of it was because, I don't know, it just kind of like really represented like a finality that I just probably wasn't ready to accept on a level. It's like, it's like when your dad dies and like you don't want to sit in his chair because it's like his chair at the head of the table. It's like kind of like that. This episode is sponsored by our friends over at Squarespace. I have been a Squarespace user, fan, advocate, now officially, but even then, before then, just with friends for about a decade now. It was 10 years in February, actually. Squarespace has absolutely changed my life. Not only does Squarespace enable me, someone that has no web building ability at all, that is not my core competency, nor did I have the budget to do it. Squarespace has allowed me to have and operate not only beautiful, but functional website, something that has been, again, invaluable to me. They've processed, thousands of watch sales. They've given me the tools on SEO, on invoicing, on everything, on site construction, dragging and dropping to their fluid engine system, template building. It's amazing. The tools do not end. And now what's been big for us is flexible payment systems, giving our clients the ability to pay as they go. It's been amazing. Squarespace has never, over that decade, ceased to expand their suite of offerings, and I couldn't possibly recommend that you at least try, but certainly after that, trust Squarespace to be that partner for you, no matter what stage of business that you're in. So head on over to Squarespace, use the code Theo Harris for 10% off of your first website or domain. That's Theo Harris off your first 10% first website or domain. Link is down below. I did wear it recently. I wore it on Easter to make pizza rustica and to eat the lamb's head, which was a very us thing. And it was very emotional, it was very beautiful. And then I wore it to Italy this past week or 2 weeks ago. And I wore it to Italy on a client engagement we had with a travel concierge company called Food First Travel. We're their agency of record. And we flew over to Florence to capture content of some of their industry partners. And there was a plan. There was something that also we couldn't have possibly predicted, really, but there was a plan to visit an estate called Il Borro, which is owned by the Ferragamo family, Salvatore Ferragamo, the grandson of Salvatore Ferragamo. And we met with him and I interviewed him. We had an amazing time. They were incredible people, an incredible estate. We made amazing content. Again, on just the social mobility, kind of like American story. It was super cool to be able to wear my grandfather's watch, to like do this really cool, like just freaking cool thing. It felt really, really cool to have my grandfather's watch in that room, as opposed to, some whatever watch I maybe have recently bought or something that will probably go on somewhere else at some point, right? I mean, I was able to make the memory with this, something that my grandkids will have one day, right? And that was beautiful. And I definitely touched it. I mean, over the week, over the 7 days that we were there, I did not once wish I had another watch. I did not once think that it was out of place with my wardrobe, even though I'm sure at some point it was. Part of like the beauty of being a one watch guy, which I was for a week, is like that you start to realize that it kind of just melts into you and it kind of melts into every outfit. It's kind of like, especially with an elegant watch like this, it just kind of does. It just kind of does. But then we were in a restaurant called Atto, which is it's like a big Michelin restaurant in Florence. It's really, really cool. It's an amazing chef who was actually from the same town in Italy that one of my great grandmothers was from, or a neighboring town. It was like a super cool like synergy moment happening. And again, I mean, we're in this most remarkable place, actually a former palazzo that was owned by the Medici family. It's actually the palazzo that Beatrice, who was Dante Alighieri's love interest, a character really in the Dante's Commedia, the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. I mean, she was like a central figure, one of his escorts. Regardless, it's really cool, right? Dante's Commedia was, in the book, I would say, that probably defined my college experience, right? I was a Catholic studies major, right? It was like a really big deal to be in this place where she grew up and to be looking at these frescoes on the wall and to be like really experiencing this beautiful evening over, of course, a beautiful glass of wine and a Brunello or something. And I knew that I had an interview rather, that I was conducting at 7, or rather at 6:45. And we were only a block away from the Duomo in Florence, one of the most beautiful churches, in the world. And we're a block away from the Duomo. I have a meeting at 7, and the bells from the Duomo ring every hour, right? And I know that. And I'm standing there, observing the happenings of the operation of work, and the bells go off. And I said, my first thought was, oh shit, did I miss my 6:45 meeting? The bells mean it's 7. And then I said, no, I didn't miss the fucking interview. I didn't miss the interview. Why are the bells going off? And it occurred to me, and I got chills all over my body immediately. My voice started cracking. I feel chills over my body right now. That the reason the bells were ringing at 6:18 or 6:23 was because they had elected a new pope. And that's what they do, they ring the bells. The white smoke went out in Rome, and now all these beautiful churches have their bells ringing. And as soon as it sets in that that's happening, a waitress, a server, runs over to the manager and says, "Habemus Papam," right? We have a pope, is a Latin term, And my whole freaking body just became like totally like, I was absolutely shaking like a leaf. And my reaction almost never is to grab my phone. If you know me personally, that's just, I actually find it kind of crass and tasteless. I actually don't even like when people pull their phones out at dinner to take pictures. I yell at everyone when everything happens. I really don't like that. But I wanted to I'm getting chills. I wanted to just send my mom a video of what was happening. I wanted to send my mom a video and be like, Mom, listen to the bells. I'm wearing Poppy's watch. Listen to the bells. We've got a new pope. It's fucking super cool. I'm in this palazzo and look at the frescoes and it's, I'm getting chills talking about it. And so I did, and I actually posted it on social media, and it was amazing. Just the outcry of holy shit. Everyone saying enjoy this, and you'll never stop telling the story to your children. This is a once in a lifetime, nay, once in a 10 lifetime opportunity to do this, to see this, to experience this. Anyway, the point of the story is, had I chosen a different watch, had I chosen a different watch, had I grabbed another watch on my nightstand, had I grabbed something that I thought was a little bit more me that week, but not nearly as important to my life and my story, just my entire soul and my being and my fabric, one of the most interesting, beautiful religious things that's ever happened to me wouldn't have happened to me with with my grandfather's watch, with an item that means more to me, like a symbol, a totem that means so much to me, right? And it still would have happened to me, right? Like the experience still would have happened, but it is all the more special. And I think that this watch's story now is, I know this watch's story now is all the richer. And I can't even imagine, I'm 29, and I can't even imagine how many more stories this watch will have as I grow older and wear this watch. And truly, because this is really what's happening on a behavioral level, as I wear fewer watches, as I wear my Datejust and like my GMT, like I'm wearing like 4 watches these days. I know that's a lot and that's ridiculous and no one needs any watches. They're all dumb and they're all overpriced and we have our fucking time on our phone. I get it. But in the grand scheme of watch collecting, particularly if you're in the business, 4 is not a lot. It's just the truth. And I guess I'm just like super grateful that that's an earnest behavior right now. That I'm not forcing myself to wear like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 watches. It's not faux. These are the watches that I just gravitate toward. And I think that part of that on a subconscious level is that I just am just so actively aware of the fact that things happen every day. The most special moments of your life can happen without you even realizing it. And the most, chilling experiences, and those chilling experiences don't have to be as profound and large and global as what happened to me last week. It could be something so simple. It could be, beautiful date with, with a loved one. It can be anything. It could be literally anything. And I guess my message is twofold. 1, to wear your fucking watch. Wear the watches that matter to you. Wear the watches that matter. If it doesn't matter to you, why do you have it? Just get rid of it. It's just a burden then. It's just a burden. Father of the church, this guy St. John Chrysostom said, I remember this, it was from college. Whose class is this? Father Doug Maluski's class. He's talking about the abundance of wealth and what it can do to your soul, and almost like the uselessness of it. The uselessness of this, of having too much. And he compared like real estate, your home and the size of your home, to wearing a shoe that doesn't fit. Why would you wear, in our terms, why would you wear a size 13 if you're a 9, right? Why have 14 watches if you only truly care about 4? Why even have them? They are just a burden. Now it's just a shoe that's flopping off your foot. That's all it is. And that's so true. That's so true. I said it to my buddy pretty recently. He has a Sky Dweller that he's literally never worn ever. And he said to me, literally, I don't think he's worn it once. And he paid like $13,000 for it after like VAT and tax or whatever. And he was offered like $13,000 for it. And I love him very much. And he's very wise. Well, he's not very wise. He's smart. And no, he's wise. He's wise. He's wise. Very is a strong word, but he's wise. That's funny. If he's watching this, he's going to laugh at that. I'm very careful with my compliments as I am with my insults. And he said, and it sounds so arrogant, but he goes, what the fuck am I going to do? Sell it? I don't need $13,000. And I said, oh my God, you sound like not only sound like such a fucking asshole, that is so unwise. You have no wisdom in this moment right now. You have none. You have none. Why do you need to be carrying around this luggage, this expensive piece? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is not making you in any way richer. It's not making you richer in soul. It's not making you richer in experience. It's not making you anything. Get rid of the fucking thing. I think there's like a moving philosophy about it too, right? Some Asian woman that always says it doesn't bring you joy. Is she Asian? I believe she's Asian, yeah. If you joy, get rid of it, Anyway, where are the watches that matter? I'm sorry I got heavy there for a second. I'm trying to end on a light note by just calling some random woman on Netflix Asian. I said, the Asian woman that moves things. She's an organizer. Tito would have said, that's my grandfather would have said, the Chinese woman, she organized, she moved. She's Oriental broad, she's beautiful. No, I don't mean it like that. No, you'd make it like, she organizes everything. If it means something, keep it. If it don't, get rid of it. That's what she said, not me. That would have been Tito. Anyway, wear your watches, wear the watches that matter. Fuck everything else that doesn't. Grow up. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day.
Watches, particularly vintage watches, represent this intersection of history, of design, of engineering. Theo and Harris is a family business. It always has been. And that's because we, my family, all share a passion for this remarkable intersection. For nearly a decade now, we have scoured the world from Oklahoma to Tokyo for some of the most interesting watches by some of the world's most revered manufacturers to share with our community. We handpick our collection, we look for quality, and we look for taste. We choose watches that, for one reason or another, speak to us. We authenticate them, we service them so they're ready for decades of memories to come, and then we share them here with you. We support our clients. We believe in expedited and fully insured shipping so they never have to wait. We believe in stress-free returns in the off chance they change their mind. We believe in building relationships that last. Theo and Harris is a family business. And we haven't just built a shop, we've built a community. So whether you're considering adding a vintage watch to your collection, a handmade strap to your life, or if you're just looking to talk watches, we're grateful that you've chosen us.